I always thought about harming myself.
I'm shy. I struggled with making friends.
I never thought I could do anything. I have extremely low self esteem.
Lately, I've been eating my pain away. Just throw it back up. I've been struggling to lose weight. Somebody said I don't fit in just because I wear my hair the way I like it.
1 out of 5 American girls suffer from mental health problems. Don't be that girl. Talk to someone.
Those thoughts I had are long gone, for I have a future I need to get to.
In order to get better, I had to do better. I learned how to make friends.
I believe in myself. That's when everyone else did, I set an example.
Instead of me eating everything, I started watching my calories. The weight is falling off.
I wanted to change my hair, but I decided it was for me. It's for me.
A PSA from the Curvy Girl Project.
Welcome to Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we have another power-packed half an hour to bring you news and information in and around the city of Detroit. Our show is televised here in the phenomenal city of Highland Park, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Glenda McDonald. It can also be seen, too, in the fantastic city of Detroit, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Mike Duggan. But before we get started, we've had a lot of things to go on since the last time we were with you. We had a convention that was held in Chicago that a lot of people went to. And as everybody knows, and if you don't know, I'm shocked. I don't know where you're at or where you've been, but we have a presidential candidate who is currently the vice president of the United States, and that is a lady, and I want to make sure that people get her name pronounced right. And her name is Kamala Harris, and she is the presidential candidate for the Democrats for the title of being the 47th president of these United States. And everybody that's came back from the convention is, what's the phrase, they're fired up, they're ready to go. So we got a lot of work that we'll see that's coming about with the Republicans and the Democrats to make sure, and the main thing that I know myself and my guests here in the studio that we pray is that it is a fair election process. But now the ticket, whereas before the ticket was Biden and Harris, now the ticket is VP Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. So there's a lot of work that the Republicans are all ready to do, just like the Republicans, were looking at trying to make sure that they had their ticket with J.D. Vance as vice president and Donald Trump as their presidential candidate. So now the Democrats are ready, and now they know, everybody knows who they're going to be, running against. So I guess that they're talking about planning debates. I've heard some rumor about whether or not the presidential debate is going to come into fruition, but we'll see in the upcoming days as to whether or not if that debate is going to still be televised and if it's still going to be enacted on September the 10th. But stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. All right, today we've got the cities of Inkster and the city of Westland represented in the House. And I'm sure that when you see these lovely faces, you'll be like, oh, I know her. So I've got two people that are on the show with me today. And I guess you'd say this is Miss Westland. And that is, she's on the school board of Westland, Wayne Westland Schools. And that is Miss Melanie Hines. And we've also got I guess she's the mama of everybody just about in Inkster, and everybody calls her Mama Pastor Velma Jean Overman. So I was at an event recently that she'll probably talk about, and everybody was like, "Yep, that's my mama. That's my mama." So I think she'll probably be wearing probably a necklace that's going to have "I'm your mama" on there, so everybody recognizes her as their mama. And I mean, I even thought her mama was even going to look at her and say, "That's my mama." But she treats everybody the same. She's got daughters and sons all over Inkster. And again, that is Pastor Velma Jean Overman. And we're so fortunate to have you on Expose Under the Sun today. Ladies, okay, let's get started. Melanie, I know there's a lot going on out there in Inkster, so we'll go with Inkster first under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Kevin Coleman. Melanie, what's happening in Westland?
So we have an event going on tonight called She Rocks Westland. It's going to be at Westland City Hall. Tonight it's starting from 7 to 9 p.m. And what it is encasing women, African American women, a lot of business owners. So we're going to have some vendors there. We're going to have a glam contest. We're going to have speakers. And it's going to be a ball later on that night. So we're going to be wearing evening gowns. We're going to be celebrating. We're going to have dinner. And the nice thing about it, it's free. So I'm pretty excited. It's being held by the Equity, Inclusion, and Diversity Division by Mr. Pascal for the City of Westland. So it's going to be a really exciting event to, promote women and especially women business owners.
So when you say promoting the women business owners, will there be vendors there as well?
Yes, there'll be vendors, and the nice thing with that, the vendors' tables are free, so you don't have to pay for them. And the tickets are free, the dinner is free, so it's really nice to have an event to promote businesses in the community where you don't have to pay for tables.
Oh, okay. So what will your participation be in this event?
Yeah, so I have a group. It's a consulting firm called Funnel Group, so we'll be there. And there's another company that I have a table with called Med Mutual, and we provide employee benefits for small businesses. You only need 2 employees, and the policies are guaranteed issue, which is really unheard of.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we'll get back to that. Is there a number that somebody can call or contact information to get more information about it?
Yes. So it would be with the City of Westland. You would contact Nicole Jones. The email address there is njones@cityofwestland.com. And you can still get some tickets. They're free, RSVP, and it'll be at the Westland City Hall at 36300 Warren Road, Westland, Michigan, 48185. And definitely just, contact City Hall for additional questions for, tickets.
And I know Ms. Hines will be glad to see you.
Yes.
Being in the place. All right, now I guess we're looking at this other smiling face today. So we got Pastor Velma Jean Overman. What's happening in the city of Inkster?
Well, a few things are always happening in Inkster as we prepare our community to make sure that we take advantage of our right to vote. So there are several different organizations that are being extremely intentional to make sure that we're registered, that we're ready and powered up to get to the polls and to start voting now in absentee. So I would be remiss if I didn't always bring that to the forefront of any conversation, how very important it is for us to make sure that those that are in the house with us, down the hall, sitting at the breakfast table, and every organization that we're a part of, and every opportunity we get, we make sure that we understand it's our right, our privilege, and that we have access to do that now. So I'll always bring that to the forefront of any conversation. And I'm excited to share that we just had world-renowned artist Ted Ellis in the city of Inkster. He's nationally recognized. He serves as a commissioner for Juneteenth, actually the lead in Washington, D.C. He is an environmental chemist as well. His work, he sold millions of dollars in art. and he did he was commissioned to do the Barack Obama painting for the White House. He was in our community last Friday and Saturday. He actually did lots of work for me to support Operation Refuge, which is a 501c3 in the city of Inkster, and we specialize in young people and in food insecurity. So Ted was, as you know, being our honorary co-chair with Hill Harper, and thank you, Mr. Griffin, for actually stepping up and taking that lead to introduce Victoria from the governor's office, and our Senator Dana Pohanke, who was also there, and Wayne County was represented by their new Director of Government Affairs, who is also an Operation Refuge board member, Safe. So thank you for that. It was a great turnout, lots of success, lots of people of influence in that space that support Operation Refuge. We did very well selling paintings, and Ted came back Saturday and worked with the children, and they too have their work with Ted's autograph and theirs. So not only did they receive something very special on Saturday, but if the parents hold on to it, their children will have something of extreme value. So that's what's happening in Inkster, along with all of the opportunity for backpack giveaways and all the things we do as we prepare to get back to school.
Yeah, because I know that it's just funny when you talk about what happened on Saturday, because I was looking at, we'll give her a little shout out, this Gabby Overman, who was there, and Gabby was doing her painting, and I saw her holding the canvas up, and she trying to paint, but I think she got a lot more paint on her thumb and on her finger when she was trying to paint, not staying on the canvas, but she looked like she had a lot of fun, and that's the important part.
It was a great turnout, and Ted and his wife and his son all came up. They brought the art. His wife flew back Saturday morning, and we had the opportunity to go to breakfast in, I believe, Canton. I think it's Canton and not Westland, at French Toast Bistro, and they were just so amazed to have shrimp and grits that were really good. Like, he's from New Orleans, so he said, oh yeah, this breakfast is like one from home. So the hospitality was amazing. The team, Dr. Fleming, so many names to call. I would call them like for the entire show. But the team know the work they do, and they know the why behind the work they do, because we really can be extremely impactful into the future of our children. And so whether we think about sitting on a school board or sitting in the neighborhood, it is so important that we lift and value what belongs to us as people of color.
And to have a STEM program, to also have a mother's pantry that provides food items for people that come up and request the need, for food items. So Operation Refuge, we're definitely to commend you for all of the work that you do, in the community of Inkster as well. But, at the same time, too, we also, you mentioned about some of the things that you give away to the children. I know, Melanie, this in terms of being on the school board in Westland. And I know, Pastor Overman, with your STEM program, that I know yesterday that I was over at Davis Aerospace and was there, and I think that they had what they call a clap-in. So myself and other people, including the deputy mayor, Todd Bedison, he was there, and Dr. Nikolai Vitti, the superintendent of schools in Detroit, he was there. And I know it was a real big plus to see him, come up, and not only did he go down both sides of the lines to go and thank everybody for coming out to the school, and I know it made Principal Michelle Davis, excited to see him come. And then not only, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the school board president there in Detroit, and that's Miss Angelique Peterson Mayberry. So she came out, she got the mic, and when a black person gets a mic, they talk all kind of stuff. But she was really excited. She was, embracing the students. She was giving them, hugs and high fives and telling all of the students that came that she was so happy to see them, to come to school that day. And not only just the students, but it was also some of the parents, as well as the staff, teachers that were there as well, so it was good. It was kind of funny because I think somebody made mention about this should be a Soul Train line, and that's what the DJ was seeing us on both sides and seeing the kids come up, and the kids was kind of looking like, what's getting ready to happen? And We met them when they first started coming down the line. Principal Davis was dancing with them and gave them glasses and gave them book bags and backpacks and school books and notebooks and pencils and everything. And they was like, wow, this is something special to get all these. And then when the police pulled up, Detroit's finest, they pulled up and they jumped out of their cars and they went and lined up on the line. The DJ, he was playing the music and they was dancing to the music. The police dancing, the teachers and other administrators were dancing, and we were dancing. And then when the students started dancing, that really brought a lot, So when I was in school, Pastor Overman, I know we didn't have something like that, back when I was in school. And, we just went to school on the first day of school and that was it. Whereas now they're doing these clap-ins and things like that. So I know that both of you have been involved with that first day of school. Because sometimes that can be a little intimidating when they had the summer break and now here they're coming back to school and then, a little worried about, what's going to happen when they step into that classroom that first day. And the parents are the same way, worried about their son or daughter. But when you see the principal, the superintendent of schools, the school board president, the deputy mayor, the police, it gives you a sense of security that, hey, I must be having my child in the right place. And then they also did that over at Noble Elementary School, middle school, and I saw people there. And then I saw my business partner, Carl Baxter, and Marvin Cotton, and others over there at Malcolm X under Jeffrey Robinson, the principal there. So it was seemed like a great time for everybody to really let the students know. And I was interviewed by a lady from Bridge Magazine who interviewed me and was asking me about why am I here? Why do I see the purpose of doing something like that? And I got excited, because of the fact that, like I told her, this is our legacy. And we've got to protect our legacy. And we have to educate our legacy. Because this is who we got. This is all we have. So we got to make certain that these young people are educated. And we got to protect them so that they will have an opportunity to go and do what we need them, to do. Okay. There's a lot going on, as we see in Detroit, a lot going on in Inkster, a lot going on in Westland. But let me ask you, ladies, since the last week, we know we had a presidential election coming up in November, and everybody is concerned, everybody's worried about making certain, as you mentioned too, Pastor Overman, about getting out to vote, GOTV initiatives and efforts. But my question to you both is that now we have history that could be made. The way I see both of you nodding and smiling, we know it's a female that could be making this history-marking event. And not only is she a female, but she is also a black female. And this would be really historic, because I don't think that any of us in this room probably thought that in our lifetime that we would see not only a black man ascend to the White House, but also a black woman. I know people that really did not expect all this to occur. What's your thoughts on this? I'll ask you first, Pastor Overman. What do you think?
Oh, I absolutely did think we should see that. I have always had the expectation for excellence to be at the top eventually in this country. And everything about America since day one was built on our excellence when we got here. So eventually, I knew it would happen, and I understand what you're saying about our lifetime, but when we really think about it, in 2024, it's long overdue for the very best to be the leaders in this country. And I'm excited about this opportunity for us to vote and to ensure that it happens, and for us to rally around one another to make sure that we're well represented at the polls. There's really no comparison in the candidates. And I'm coming from an individual perspective, not organizations that I lead, but as the individual Velma, I certainly would choose someone that chooses to be kind and to be honest and to be transparent and to be inclusive and to bring in my opinion and how I am represented compared to someone that wants to point fingers and degrade. So absolutely, it's time, and we know as women that it's long overdue, and that the fact that our voices were shut and closed for so many years, when we think about the right to vote, not even for black women in the 60s, right, and for all women 100 years ago. So it's long overdue. So I'm super excited, and going to do everything I can to make sure that women are out voting, young men, everyone 18, make sure they're ready to go. So pretty excited. I know you feel the same way, Mel. We just have to do this.
Melanie, how do you feel?
I am super excited about it. I was here when Biden was in Detroit in the rally, and when Kamala was at the airport, it was like night and day. It was so much energy. I'm getting like just vibes right now, the power, and then being at the airport with the Air Force too. I mean, just sitting there being a part of it. It was 16,000 people in Romulus to celebrate Miss Harris, and it was just I'm so excited to organize. So I sit as an election chair for the City of Westland, so I'm really heavily involved in the whole election process. I was able to get 2 guys to run for our school board in Wayne Westland. I'm really big at, even Miss LaWanna, our first African-American lady from the city of Inkster to ever be on the Wayne Westland Board of Education. Super excited. So right now what I'm doing is I'm working multiple campaigns, getting people energized, registering people to vote, and the most important is making them absentee voters. That way they always get those ballots, and there's no excuse not to vote. So this is a very energetic time. I'm super excited to be a part of the process. I started getting into politics when Obama ran. When I was in Inkster, they had one of the biggest Democratic clubs ever. We registered over 4,000 people with Barack Obama. It was like amazing. So I'm just ready to do this again.
And I know, Melanie, you just got back from the Michigan State Democratic Convention that they had up in Lansing. How was that Saturday?
It was phenomenal because honestly, I didn't know who was going to be the Board of Regents, State Board of Education. So I got to meet the candidates. I've got a really close relationship with the 2 new guys that's running for State Board of Education. It's so important to know who's running your school districts from the top level. Absolutely. And then the other day I was with Lieutenant Garland Gilchrist and Van Buren. He had Grilling with Garland, and just really getting that close relationship with our governor, our legislators, our senators. In Westland we have a lady, an African American lady, has a daycare, and she helps in the community with the mental health, giving out food. So I was able to bring some of those resources, like our state rep, our senator, and I even reached the governor's office to come out to Westland September the 6th for our grand opening, because people like Miss Pastor Overman is just, she helps so many people in the community. I mean, it was times as a school board member, I went through a hardship and they helped me out at Mother's Pantry, and even helping our girls with the STEM. I mean, she's a valuable asset. So really promoting people who are doing a good job, and again, people that look like us in the White House. I'm just really excited about this campaign.
Yeah, and we have to really make sure that we share that energy, because you're absolutely right, because when Kamala, our VP, Kamala came to Local 900, it was a very intimate setting for us. There was less than 100 of us. And she is the very same way. I've met her on numerous times. Every time she comes genuine. She comes with, what can I do? So when you see the crazy commercials on television making her look one way, we have to make sure that our communities understand those are tactics used to win elections. Get to know the person, as you say. Go where Garland is grilling and ask those questions. As you eat hot dogs, what will you really bring to the street on Stanford? What does that look like? In Westland, what are you bringing to Power Street? And to be able to tell your small businesses, yes, they can do both. They can look after you and a small business. Because what happens on the media is it always make it look like it's a them against us. And that's a strategy. So we just have to let people know, like you said, you have the right to know from Pam Pugh all the way down who's involved with education. Right? That is your right as a taxpayer. So I want us to make sure that we share that we're excited about it, and that we keep that energy going, because I think we're at, Mr. Griffin, like 60 days now before the election, 65 or so?
Yeah, because it's November the 5th.
And we're watching everyone say we're this many days, and you start to watch, okay, we were all excited, and now we're losing that momentum. But if we're going to make sure that this happens, we got to be just as excited about it as if it was the first day she was here with the 15,000.
Yeah.
And we need to be in these lines.
Yes.
We're going to wait till election day because, as both of you
vote
said,
now.
there's absentee ballots that should be
Yes.
coming out shortly. There's also the early voting,
Yes.
9 days before the election. And I know, just like you were saying too, Pastor Overman, I see the commercials would look like her out there dancing and that kind of thing. But it's like she flew me and some other people out to Des Moines, Iowa 4 years ago when she was
Yes.
running for president. And when I met her and met her
Big deal,
husband,
yes.
I guess, if she's elected, he'll be the first gentleman. So when I met Doug Emhoff, when I was out there, they were very, very gracious. They were very, very polite, very energized. And we had a lot of young people because they had people that were there from the high schools and the middle schools in Des Moines, Iowa. And they came and they were marching down the hall at the conference, center out there in Des Moines. And she was dancing with them. I mean, how often do you see, the only other person I could see that possibly could have been, like dancing with them might have been Barack Obama, because I see Barack Obama when he was at the Olympics, he out there getting ready to take some shots, with them. But you see the energy that this person brings. And then the other thing is that they're spending so much money trying to dissuade and discourage people from voting. So you know that our vote really matters for them to do something like that. But just the thing that I just want to say before we wrap up, because we got a couple minutes left, is there anything else, and I'll ask you first, Melanie, is there anything else that's on your mind that you'd like to share? And I'll give you a minute to share that.
I'd like to say that we need to take this moment seriously. When I went to Grilling with Garland, one of the congresswomen, an African-American woman from Virginia, she was
on my show. She was on my Truth to Power show last Saturday.
Yes.
Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan. So
yes.
she was right here in the chair that you're sitting in, Pastor Overman. So she was right there in the studio with me and Cassie Jones McBride. And Cassie was sitting over there where you at, Melanie, and the congresswoman was sitting right there. So the last person that touched that seat could have been the congresswoman, Pastor Overman. So go ahead, Melanie, I'm sorry.
But it was so inspirational because she was talking about how we had to do the poll tax. I mean, it was so much. We had the literacy test. We had to
Jelly
do
beans.
Yes. So we had to do so much to vote. And then people died. When you start thinking about Selma, I mean, people were brutally just, injured, went to jail just for the right to vote. And the scary thing is we can lose that right permanently. The things they're doing with the Supreme Court, and they could change the Constitution. I mean, it could go back to slavery. It's dangerous. So we have, even with Project 2025. So definitely, get a neighbor, make sure people are registered. It's super easy. You can even register to vote the day of the election and still vote. They've changed the laws to really help people. So get out and use your right to vote.
Okay, Pastor Overman, you got the last word. We got 10 seconds.
Amen.
Spoken like a true pastor. All right, you have been watching Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. My special guest today has been Miss Melanie Hines, Pastor Velma Jean Overman. And if you'd like to get a copy of the Detroit Native Sun newspaper, you can contact Ms. Valerie Lockhart, 313-496-5944. And also to advertise, contact Ms. Lockhart for that reason as well. Again, I know it's raining in some parts of the city of Detroit, so be safe, stay safe, and have a great rest of the afternoon.
Here at the Full and Fabulous Curvy Girl Project, we don't just focus on health, beauty, and self-esteem. We also offer an amazing summer program for young ladies ages 12 to 18. For more information, visit our website at fullandfabulous.org. See you soon.